We won't tolerate resignations based on flimsy excuses. That's according to Nigerian Army. Now, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, is blowing hot, following the reports of resignations by many officers and men, especially this time of insecurity or security challenges in the country. So the Nigerian Army has said it. They said they will no longer tolerate loss of interest in the military service or lack of promotion as the basis for discharge. Yes, in a letter, signed by the Chief of Army Staff. Yes, the letter signed by him. The Chief of Army Staff said, the military service in Nigeria is a voluntary service. Accordingly, able-bodied men and women apply to serve the color, after which they apply for re-engagement or choose to voluntarily discharge. Others in the course of service decided to go on retirement or discharge before their run-out date. Going by the NA forecast of events, the discharge board is designed to hold quarterly to afford personnel opportunities to disengage for several reasons other than completion of ROD. The board exercise is held biannually, first to gather appreciable numbers of applicants who may wish to disengage and to be treated in bulk, while also ensuring that the process is handled in a controlled and uniformed manner. Admittedly, service in the NA is voluntary, and since it's not a conscript army, any personnel could opt to leave at different times. Conversely, considering the resources and efforts that have been put into training, most of the applicants, which requires that skills and expertise acquired, is utilized for the benefits of the system. Opting out without serving the length prescribed in the color is inimical to the system. Also, in order to ensure that the expertise acquired is not easily let off by the service and to recoup the investment made to the benefits of the nation, service personnel discharging at will does not augur well for the NA. However, it was observed recently that most at-armed soldiers come out with various excuses to go on retirement and discharge, which are not cogent enough or professional. In the light of the foregoing, you are kindly requested to educate troops under command, and henceforth reasons such as loss of interest in the military service will no longer be tolerated as the basis for discharge. This reason is, to say the least, lame and therefore not accepted. Personnel are expected to explain the reason behind lack of interest. For example, I do not want to fight for the country again. I have not been promoted, etc. To enable the service to make necessary amendments for the betterment of the system. Accordingly, other cogent reasons could be made for discharge from service, otherwise such request would not be granted. That's his statement. The statement of the Chief of Army Staff, or the letter. The letter, we have seen the letter. Yes, it was signed by Brigadier General Oladapo Oyelade, on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff. Yes, he approved of it. That is it. So he signed it, of course. If he approved it, he signed it. So this letter is from the Nigerian Army and from the Chief of Army Staff. That is what is happening. The personnel are leaving the army in their large numbers. They are hiding it. They don't want us to know what is happening there. A lot of things are happening in the Nigerian Army. A lot of factors, prompting these officers and men to leave the army untimely. And the army is saying they have invested a lot of money and resources in their training, and so they must stay to serve. So it's a must. So they say they say voluntary, but from what is happening, they are conscripting them. They say they are being conscripted. Yes, you are forcing people to remain in the army. What is that then? You are conscripting them, so don't say it's voluntary. Nigerian army is not voluntary again. They are conscripting people into the army. They are forcing people to stay. We have said it. They have just about 300,000 army. Nigeria, 300,000. With this population and the large expanse, that's talking about the Nigeria, territory or the landmark. They have just 300,000 army, 300,000. And among that 300,000, we're seeing resignations upon resignations, people leaving the army. And they're hiding it. Forcing them to stay. That's conscription. That's conscripting people into the army. So that shows failure. The federal government of Nigeria, what is happening to you? Failure is imminent. It's staring them in the face. Honestly speaking, they're failing. Yes, the war on terror, they've allowed it to overwhelm them completely. Don't mind what they're doing in the southeast. It's gara. They have been overwhelmed in northern Nigeria. They have allowed themselves to be consumed by the fire they ignited. They ignited the fire, and today the fire is consuming the whole country. Yes, the bandits, the terrorists, they have succeeded in weakening the military, the Nigerian army, particularly the army. They have succeeded in weakening them. So they have been overwhelmed. You see. So personnel, officers, and men, they are living in droves, they're large numbers, resigning. The Nigerian army forcing them to stay. That is what is happening now. That is what is happening. They have gone out of voluntary to conscription. Yes, before it's enlistment. Now it's conscription. Now so did they go. Now so then go they go. Now so. That is it. So, and you think that anybody who is coming to take over the country will reverse this trend? How possible is that? You have a very weak army, very weak one. Now so then go they go. So we are seeing we're not seeing any possibility of anyone reversing it or reverting, if you like. No. It has gone into the deep. It has eaten into the fabrics, into the army. Yes, it has eaten into it. And so there's no more quarterism. The army is involved. When we talk about the rot in the system, the army would have been insulated. But from all indications, the army is into it, is involved. The rot affected the army. The rot in all the sectors of the economy, all the sectors of the country affected the army majorly. And that is why, when we talk about the no militarism thing, you begin to appreciate it. They have passed, between the Abatam and Abatam. They have gone to the Abatam side. The boundary between the living and the dead. The country has passed that junction. All right. Akpo Jogodo. That's the boundary between the living and the dead. Akpo Jogodo. Iowa. That's where the people swore oath of destiny. Iowa. Akpo Jogodo. The country has passed to Akpo Jogodo. And where it is now is the land of the dead. Yes. Onward to mortuary. Onward. Destination. And so the only way to revert, to come back, is to completely, separate yourself. Move to your own side, to your